What's up, team? Or hopefully you'll be on the team by the end of this. Look at this chart. We're going to get to that in 1 minute. It's linked below. I want you to grab it. So, triads. Triads are just stripped down versions of chords. In fact, they're 3-note chords. And they're just beautiful sounding. There's many shapes all over the neck. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go really slow because I talked to my mom who plays guitar. My friend Eddie plays guitar. And they're like, dude, you got to slow down and break them down one at a time. Because here's the end goal. These are all going to be in a new playlist. Each week we're going to move through. One at a time. There's 12 major triads and there's 12 minor triads. So I'm going to try and talk slow because my goal for you is not to just play the triad, okay? Obviously. But I want you to understand on a deeper level. That's why we're going to do one at a time, but just promise me this. If you're confused, put a comment, put a question. We'll help you. I'll get back to you, I promise. All right, let's go to the chart. Again, get it linked below and just add it to like your little catalog. Because trust me, by the end of all 24 major minor triad shapes, your playing is going to skyrocket to a new level. And you need these because you need more information in your catalog because you're going to hit plateaus, and this is how you bust out. Okay, top left, a little bit of the language, okay, before we get to the playing part, but stick with me. 1, 3, 5 triad on the EAD string set. Now, I put specific things on here, very simple, because I know from experience of being on this channel for a couple years and hearing you guys, ask questions in your comments, and my mom and Eddie, I know what you're getting confused on. So 1, 3, 5 triad on the EAD string set. Some people are like, well, what do you mean string set? Which brings me to the bottom left. Do you see that red rectangle around the EAD string set? We're going to call that an Eddie box because my best friend Eddie said, hey, dude, you got to put like a box or a bounding box around things when you're highlighting. And so in this case, I told him I'm going to call that the Eddie box. So when you hear me say the EAD string set, I'm talking about the EAD strings. We're just using a point of reference because those are the 3 notes from the triad. We're going to play them on those strings. You follow me so far? Okay. So below that, this is something that I was like, wow, I never thought about this, but I found this as a common theme. Sometimes the simplest little things get lost in translation. So you see how it says the R or root note is the same thing as the 1. Because sometimes you're going to see root 3, 5, which you see on this chart. And I made another one that's going to have 1, 3, 5. The R root is the 1. So right there, just burn that in your brain. A 1, 3, 5 triad is the same thing as a root 3, 5. The 1 is the root, okay? All right, following so far. Okay, and then on the bottom left, we're not going to go here because we need to keep this simple and to the point, just one at a time. A triad is made of the 1st, 3rd, and 5th notes of the major scale. Okay, don't worry, you're going to have a light bulb moment for that. It's going to just click, but I don't want to cloud this up. Okay, let's get to the fun part, which are these colored dots on the fretboard. So if you go up here, we're going to call this our pointer, our middle, our ring, and our pinky. Because I don't want to do 1, 2, 3, 4 because we're using numbers. I don't want to confuse you, okay? So watch this. This is a tough shape, but take your pinky and put it on the 8th fret on the E string. Because remember, we're playing in what string set? Yes, EAD string set. Good job, all right? So your root, or your 1, is here on the 8th fret, okay? And we have to start somewhere, so we're playing this in the key of C. This is going to be a C major triad, all right? Now take your 3rd finger, which is we said a ring finger. We're going to put it on the 7th fret, okay? That's the 3. That's the 3rd. Root 3, we're making a triad, okay? So there's the first 2 notes in the triad. And then take your pointer finger and put it on the 5th fret on the D string, okay? So just go like this. Get that shape. Now here's one thing you can practice because this is not an easy shape. So right out of the gate, we're starting off this playlist, this brand new playlist. We got 24 of these. I'm giving you a tough shape. So one thing my teacher taught me that you can do is take your hand, your strumming hand, take your train out of it, your rhythm hand, okay? Rhythm is everything, but watch. See if you can take it off and just go like this. Take it off. See if you can just start nailing that shape. Which brings me to one of the most important things of this whole lesson. I said the word shape. You need to start recognizing these shapes. Because I'm going to tell you this. If I saw someone fingering this on the guitar, I 100% know they're playing a 1, 3, 5 or root 3-5 triad. And just really quick to kind of show you what that other chart looks like, it's the same thing, but if you ever see it looking like boop, this, see, it's the same thing, it just says 1-3-5. Okay, get it? See, the root and the 1 are the same thing. There's some language. We got to burn this in our brains. Okay, let's go back to the original. Whoop. All right, now, I have 2 red arrows, one going up the neck and one going down the neck, because this is why this is so important to learn this. When you learn this shape and you understand where the root is in that string set, you can move it to any key. Now, remember when I said we're playing some notes, so we have to be in a key. We're going to do everything as C's, C majors and C minors, just to keep it clean and consistent. But if I move this up, watch me move the shape. If I moved it up 2 frets and I keep the same shape, I've shifted my shape up. It hasn't changed. I just moved it up. Look, it's still the same thing, root 3-5. However, I'm now in the key of D major because that's D, F sharp, A. See, so you kind of see why this is so important. So let's move back to where we were. C, okay, 1-3-5 or root 3-5. And if we move it down, let's say we move it down, let's move it down 3 frets. And if I go down here, like the same shape, see how the shape didn't change? And I go boom, boom, boom. I'm still playing root 3-5 or 1-3-5. But because my root is A, that's an A major triad. Okay, hopefully that didn't confuse you, but that's what the arrows are. Those are important. It's just to show you that you can move the shape around and you can move it to a different key. Hence why we're really trying to hammer home root 3-5, root 3-5, or 1-3-5. Again, let's get that language going. Root 3-5, 1-3-5. In this case, it's C, E, G. Okay. Hopefully I haven't lost you, but listen, as soon as you're confused, you're like, what the heck is this dude talking about? Just drop a question. I'm going to answer you. Somebody on here is going to help you. Team Jellyfish for the win. All right, now let's talk about some things we can do to actually get the playing part, okay? But the most important thing is root 3-5, and since you're there, just a little bonus for you, and you know this is C, E, G, you might as well just say C, E, G while you're doing it, okay? Learn the notes on the fretboard, C, E, G. See how deep music is? Because you've got the actual note, C, E, G, and those notes are the root 3-5 or 1-3-5 from the major scale. Remember what I said? The major scale part's all going to make sense. Some of you already know it, I get it, but if you don't, it's okay. But just remember, root is the same thing as the 1. See, sometimes as musicians, and in like any language, we just get lost in the semantics of it all. We get caught up and we just get confused, right? Down in Nashville, they just use a numbering system. They talk in numbers. So again, this is going to help you to be a well-rounded player. So let's do this. Here's what you can do. Why don't you just practice some real steady downstrokes with this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Practice those downstrokes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those would be quarter notes. Eighth notes are 1 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then also arpeggiate. Pick it like this. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. I'm picking root 3, 5, 3, root 3, 5, 3. Okay? Now, do this too. This is a great time if you haven't gotten rid of your pick. We'll do this in each video. Finger style, okay? Go like this. Maybe pick the root with your thumb, and then pick the 3 and 5 with these 2 fingers. Go. See that? Real slow. Picking the root with my thumb. I'm talking about, I'm picking it with my thumb, watch. And then I'm picking the 3 and 5 with my pointer and middle finger on my rhythm hand. This is the train. This drives us, okay? And then you can also practice arpeggiating it like this. Okay? Now, one more tiny thing. Hopefully, I know you guys are going to crush this, so just stick with this. If you're new, you know what buttons to hit. Now, I'm pretty sure you're going to know a C open chord. So one cool thing you can do to really, we've got to always put rhythm, we got to always focus on our rhythm. So if you want to go from the open C up to this triad, that's a really great practice. It's a great way to practice each one of these. So take the open chord, because we're playing C to a C triad, go like this. See that? Open chord triad, open chord triad, open chord triad. Now, that's That's gonna feel really weird if you haven't done this shape a lot. And I know some players, they totally avoid this triad. But I'm gonna tell you this, I use all of the triad shapes. Now some of them I use more often than others because they just seem to be used more in common types of music. But other ones, I might want it for recording purposes. I might love the flavor. They're all different flavors. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Again, grab the chart, but I want you to read this information and burn it in your brain because we're gonna connect this. This is like you remember when you're in school and your teacher teaches a lesson, but it's connected to a bigger unit? That's what we're doing here. Our unit is mastering triads. And I'm telling you, these are gonna be these are the bones of music. These are more usable than just about anything. And then if you've come from angles of like the cage system, or some teachers have taught you how to just understand things from scales, different chord voicings, it's all the same thing. You're gonna see how the triads hide inside of all of this stuff, and all that stuff hides inside of the triads. Okay. I said enough. Drop jellyfish in the comments or your favorite sea creature and let us know what you're working on. Tell us what you're struggling with triads. Have you ever played triads? Yes or no? Drop that in the comments. But the reason we need them is they're the bones of music. They're the glue that holds it all together, and you're gonna want these. They're gonna help you bust out of plateaus. Always go back to them. They're amazing. All right. Hopefully you guys dug this kind of new, simpler format. Hopefully I didn't talk too fast. Yes, I am guilty of drinking too much iced coffee. So I'll see you guys in the next video. We'll keep this thing rolling. I'm not sure, but 24 of these, 23 more to go. 11 more major and 12 minor. But we're going to do all the string sets, all the shapes, and your playing's going to skyrocket. See you in the next video. Peace.